In some of the first government documents on the so-called cleanup, officials refer to targeting areas with a low-end population, and that term sparked a backlash online. Well, I talked to Beijing-based author and journalist Lijia Zhang about the mass evictions and the use of that term, low-end people.
Well, this is a term called the 低端人口, meaning low-end population. Generally speaking, they refer to migrant people. They have low-end jobs, means low skillful jobs, and they have low education. And I personally think I'm just disgusted by this term, because this is a socialist China. Everybody should be treated with respect, with equally, but not this kind of insulting term. Yeah, so that's why this caused such outcry. As somebody, my neighbors are migrant workers, and I think. Migrant workers, I should explain, migrants in China, they are people originally from the village. They can come to the city to work, but they do not enjoy the same benefit or equal access to healthcare or educational resources. But I must say the migrant workers, the so-called low-end population, they are the unsung hero of China's economic miracle, because the cheap labor, the cheap labor contribute greatly to China's economic development, and they provide such huge service. They pave the road, they construct the buildings, they clean up the rubbish, they look after the children. We people cannot function without them. I think you see such outrage. I mean, personally, I know my neighbors. I know how hard they work, how terrible their living conditions are, and how much they made contribution to our society. They shouldn't be treated so badly. And also, from a selfish point of view, I'm worried that if these people being kicked out, how can we survive?
Who will be able to deliver your packages, the cobbler on the street?
Yes.
These types of services. Yeah. And they also help to build the economy and this modern-day city, this metropolis that is Beijing today. What will happen to Beijing after the migrant population leaves?
I think the city will lose much of vitalities. Any society with vibrant society needs diversity. So, and also I'm worried that the social mobility will increase, will be narrowing. One of the downside of China's economic reform is that income gap has been widening. Before the reform started, the Gini coefficient, the index measure inequality, was 0.17. Now it's more than 0.5. On the other hand, social mobility has been narrowing. So, people living the so-called low-end people, it's already very difficult for them to move up the social ladder. By imposing such restrictions, it will be even harder for them to move upwards.
Now, some solid and compassionate analysis there. Author and commentator Lijia Zhang speaking to me earlier about those mass evictions in Beijing.